All right, everybody. How's everybody doing tonight? Okay, for those of you who missed it, we're going to get started with Asteroids. You should see on your desktop a folder. If you don't see this Asteroid Game 2023 folder, then go ahead and ask me for it, okay? Open up your Unity Hub. Most of us already did this Monday, okay? So open up your Unity Hub, and then you want to go ahead and create a new project. It is going to be a 2D project, okay? So new project, Asteroids, Manceus, and your period number is what you want to name it, okay? I just named it Asteroid Manceus because this is what I'm using to create it on the daily, just like you guys. Every day I am doing one video just like you guys, so there's nothing that says, oh, it's impossible. No, it's not. So anyway, talking to you people that have a hard time following instructions in the video. I increased my video quality. Hopefully, there is no more issues with the video quality. And if there is, I will be the first to know in first period because that's where I will be working on it also, along with you guys. All right, so now that we got Unity opened up, there's a few things I want you guys to go ahead and do. Okay, because I forgot to do this during the falling objects, so I went ahead and just waited until everybody was complete with it. I want you to go to your Unity edit area and I want you to go to project settings, okay? Now, what I want you to do is go to I apologize. I meant for you to go to window, go to package manager. Inside package manager, make sure it says in project, okay, in project. And what you want to do is update these arrows that are pointing up, okay? I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to pause the video while you guys do that too. All right, so I got most of mine done. Just want to show you, just in case you didn't remember how to do this, you want to click on this, highlight it, right? It's highlighted, and you want to hit update, okay? Then it'll start turning, and when you get the green check mark, you're good to go. Okay, this took approximately about 5 minutes for me to get all these up to date. So let's go ahead and close that box out, and then we have our assets here. What I want to do is add some folders. Okay, so right click, create folder. So the first one I'm going to put is for all my sprites. That's that stuff I gave you yesterday. Okay, I'm going to throw it all in that folder. That way they're just not all laying here. The next thing I'm going to do is create scripts. So obviously we're going to be writing script for this project. So I'm going to name it script. Okay. Once I create prefabs, I'm going to go ahead and put them in this certain folder. So I'm going to go ahead and create a prefab folder. So let's get that taken care of. And of course, let me see, sound. Okay. So create and folder, and I'm going to put my sound in here. All right. All right. So where am I going to get this stuff? We on day one, technically, our prep day. I gave you this folder. If you didn't get this folder, be sure to get my attention so I can go ahead and give this to you. Okay. So we're going to open this up, and we're going to take a look here what we got. Excuse me. So I'm going to open up my sound first, and I'm going to throw all my sound in there. The first area of sound I'm going to grab is all this stuff right here. So I'm just going to grab this stuff. I like this stuff right here. I'm not going to worry about the other stuff. So I'm going to copy, and then I'm going to open up my sound folder. I'm going to go ahead and paste it here. You know what? Let me just drag it in here. All right, so there it is importing. And how do you know it's correct? Well, as you saw, you're going to see it like this. If you make it larger, you're going to see it like that. Okay, the sound waves. Not sure how this little spaceship got in here, so I'm going to throw it in the assets area. Okay, so there's all my sound that I need. If you want to listen to it, open it up here and hit the play button, and you should be able to hear what it is. Okay, let's go back to the assets area and let me throw this sprite inside my sprites folder. Now let's go back here. Let's look and see what we got. So I'm going to just go ahead and grab all these sprites and throw them in here for right now. One at a time, or you can hit Control, highlight the ones you want. Control, 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 Control. Grab them and throw them inside here for now. Let me see if I got anything else. Yeah, let me go ahead and throw the rocks in here too. So Control, 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 Control. And drag those in here. Alright. So I got ships and I got rocks in here for right now. So let's go ahead and minimize this and let me throw everything inside my sprites folder. I'm not sure why it did. Okay, it's open. Alright, it's asking what do we want to do with all these. So you can just keep both for now. I'm not sure why I'm getting a whole bunch. Okay, I'm going to go clean this folder up real quick. I'll be right back. Okay, so I completed my cleanup here. Forgot one. Let's go ahead and delete that. Alright, so I got one of each. Okay, you can play with it. Grab one, see what it looks like. Okay, if you don't like it, oh, that's no good. You know, oh, maybe this one. Let's see what that looks like. Oh, that's no good either. Okay, so things like that you can do. Like this ship right here. You can grab that. Look at that. It's kind of tiny. Alright, so you probably have to stretch it out a little bit. Alright, that's good right there. But if you don't like it, you can just delete it. Okay. Let's see what we got here. Clear. Alright, so if you've downloaded before some projects, that's fine. If you haven't, go to the asset store. I am picking some animated ones right here. I like this package of ships. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and add that to my assets. I think I need to sign in still, so let me see if I need to sign in. Yes, I do. And I'm going to go ahead and sign in. And once I sign in, I should be able to download these in Unity or open in Unity. Okay, because I think I downloaded them before already. So I'm going to go ahead and import them into this area. It's called Simple Spaceship. If you need to look at them, go to your package manager located under Windows. You got your package manager here. If you can find it, if you downloaded it before, your Simple Spaceships will be located right there. All you have to do is import them again. And what you're doing is you're bringing them to this project here. Okay. All right, and we should see them inside our project assets window, and that's them right here. Okay, so these are my prefabs. There's my spaceship. Okay, the spaceship's a little bit better. Right now it doesn't have anything, so it's just going to sit there. Alright, but it is animated. Okay, as you can see, it has some animation to it already. Alright, so what we got to do is we got to flip it. So I got to flip the Y because the Y axis is wrong. So there we go. I got to flip that, and now I should be good to go. Okay, if you want something else, you can figure that out by yourself. This one right here is going to make a good enemy right there. You guys saw that blue orb playing with my other one, so I'm going to use this one as my enemy ship. Okay, delete it for now. Rename this player 1. Now I'm going to spell out player 1. Okay, so that's that right there. All right, so this play area is kind of small, so let's go ahead and go to our main camera and change that up a little bit. So let's see what 10 looks like. Okay, let's zoom out a little bit. 10 looks a little bit better. Let's look at our player 1. Maybe we need to make them a little bit larger. I don't know. Let's scale them up to a 5 all the way around. That's just me. 5 and 5. Okay, 5 and 5. 5 and 5 looks pretty good. It's a good little play area, just like we did before. Okay, we got to make sure we are in the full HD 1920 1080. Okay, so that makes a difference right there. Let me see what else it looks like. Okay, good, good. You can play focused or you can play maximize. It's up to you. I like to stay focused. That way I can keep an eye on my scene. Play maximize will maximize your screen, and you can't mess with the scene area. All right, I think that's a good size. I don't know. Let me try a 3. That's good. I like 3. All right, so let's go to our main camera. Center it back up. All right. We're obviously going to need some movement here. So let's go ahead and create a script. So we need to go inside our script area right here, and we're going to right click, create, and C# script. Now, as I warned you before, don't click out of this. Leave it blue. You're going to start typing what the name of the player is. I'm going to call him player 1. The name of the script, I mean. Okay, no space. You can't have space. You can't have special characters. You can't have things that will make it a execution file, like a dot or something like that. So keep it simple. Name it player 1, just like I did. All right, so there it is right there. All right, so as we get started, we want to go ahead and change the camera color. Let's go ahead and change that to black, so that way we know we are in space. Okay, for now. Later on, we'll add some backgrounds or a meteor background. So right now, I'm going to go total black on that. All right. Okay, so now that we got this ship, okay, just keep in mind that my ship is animated, guys. If you're going to use, and it's also flipped, okay? If you are using one of the other regular ships, just keep in mind some of this stuff will not apply to you. Just remember, I'm using a flipped animated ship. So just say, for instance, you decided to use this one or one of these other ships, then you probably don't need to flip it, okay? You more than likely do not need to flip it. All right, so let me go back to player 1. I need to add a rigid body. Anytime we want to move something, we need rigid bodies. Anytime we need stuff to collide, at least one of them needs to have a rigid body. So let's go ahead and put the player with a rigid body. And it's going to be physics 2D, rigid body in alphabetical order, and it's right there. What we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and shut down that gravity scale like we always do. Okay. Mass for right now is 1. We're going to leave that alone. Okay. What else? We're going to be making some inputs, left and right inputs. We're going to be allowing it to go up and making left and right turns. So let's go to our editor, project settings, and we need to go to the input manager. Okay. Input manager. Look at our axis. We are going to use horizontal and we are going to use vertical. Vertical is up and down, but we do not want to go in reverse. So we want to go ahead and take away that down button. Okay, so we're going to delete that, and we're going to take away the down button for WASD, so that is the S. Okay, so we're going to delete that. Horizontal is left and right, so we are good to go. Now, because I am flipped, okay, I am using the animated one, I may need to change these around. So keep that in mind. Uh, don't worry about it for yourself. If yours works when we test it out, great. If mine doesn't work, then I'm going to come back in here and switch these out. So keep that in mind, folks. For those of you that are following along with a animated spaceship. All right. Later on, we'll set up our shooting and stuff like that. So we're going to leave this alone. The next thing we want to do is go ahead and open up that script that we started, which is in the script folder, and that is my player one script. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and pop that open. Wow, it's taking a little bit of time. Not sure why, but okay. Make sure your name matches your name. Okay, if you made a mistake, you have to fix one of them. I'm not sure which one. Depends on what mistake you may have made. Okay, so keep that in mind. Delete this, delete this, delete this, delete this. All right. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to create a few integers and rigid bodies. So I'm going to give myself some room here. I'm going to go back up, and I'm going to go ahead and start with a public. And this one's going to be a rigid body, capital R, rigid body, and it's going to be a rigid body 2D right there. If you are not getting these auto populate ones, let me know, and I'll go and see if I can fix that for you. And it's going to be RB semicolon, next line. It's going to be a public float, and this float I'm going to name thrust. Okay, this is what we're going to input here shortly. You'll see how it all comes together. Next one is a public float again, and this one's going to be called turn thrust. Okay, turn thrust. Next one I'm going to have is a public float, and I'm going to call this one thrust inputs. Thrust, and it's going to be inputs. All right, it's all going to come together here shortly, so don't. Public float again, and this one is going to be called turn inputs. Okay, and these are all right now public. I may need to make some of these private, but for right now I'm going to keep them public. As we are turning, we need to be able to do that every time there's a frame rate going on, and this is the one that happens every frame rate. So we're going to go here in the void update. Okay, void update. And what we're going to do first is provide that thrust input. Thrust input is right there. And we're going to make that equal, okay, our input, which is from the input manager, dot get access, okay. All right, folks, if it's populating like that, use it, please. That's what I like about Visual Studios. It all helps out a lot. Vertical is what we're using for our thrust input. That means it's going forward. It's going up, right? So it's our up arrow. Close that out. And now we need to make it turn left and right. So that's our turn input, okay? And that's going to also equal our inputs dot get access, and this is going to be horizontal. Okay, horizontal, and we're going to close that out just like that. Next thing we need to do is create a void. Create a void. So we need to go here. Okay, give yourself some room. We need to create a new void. This new void, you need to spell it out exactly like I do, obviously. Okay, if not, you're going to have issues. Capital F, fixed update. And there it is. When it populates like that, go ahead and hit enter. It says private. We're not going to do private voids because then we won't be able to play with it. So we're going to do a regular void. All right. Fixed update, and it also added the curly Q brackets. Don't forget the curly Q brackets. There is no semicolons in voids, guys. Okay. Some of y'all been making that mistake, so let's not do that. Inside the brackets, we're going to go ahead and do the RB, rigid body, and we're going to add relative force. Okay, so add relative force. I don't see it here. So, oh, there it is. Add relative force. Good. And this is going to be a vector 2. We're going to go ahead and stick with vector 2 this time. Vector 2 to not make it too confusing on you guys. And this one is going to be up. Okay, because our force mainly is going to come from up. And multiply that by the thrust input. Remember, vertical. Thrust input. And we'll close that out. Oops, forgot my semicolon there. Okay. Next thing we're going to do is go ahead and hit save. Any errors? No errors. Okay. Minimize this. All right. Bring our player 1 into focus. Waiting on the script to build. All right, so next thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and now that our script is loaded, we're going to go ahead and drag that over to our player. The things we're going to mess with here in the script, we got RB. Right now it doesn't know what RB is, so we're going to go ahead and grab RB and put it in there, our rigid body 2D, which is located right there. The first thing we're going to check on is thrust, okay? So we're just going to go with a number 2 for now. Thrust, what that is moving through space. Linear drag right now is at 0 because there is no friction in space, and this would be our friction. Okay, right now we're going to keep it at 0. All right, so let's go ahead and hit play and let's see what happens with our ship when I hit the up button. All right, it's slowly moving up. Good. And it's going to keep going because there is no friction in space. Okay. And you guys can see it is going to continue going until it probably forever. All right. So let's go ahead and take that off. Okay. So the next thing we want to do is work on our left and right. Okay. So that allows us to go back in, and what we're going to do is again mess with our rigid body, and this time we're going to add torque. Add torque is spinning, okay, and we are going to go ahead and do, oh, there it is, add torque. All right, and we are going to tell it to use our turn input. So parentheses, turn input right there, and we're going to go ahead and close that out. All right, so now let me test it out and see if it allows me to turn. All right, so let's look at our player, our turn input. Let me minimize these so we can look at that. Our turn input is located right there. We're going to give it a number 2 again. All right, so now I'm going to hit play, and I should be able to turn left and right. Left, okay. When I hit left, it actually went right, and when I'm hitting right, it's actually going left. Okay, so that is a problem, so let's double check that real quick. And our angular drag is the friction when we are turning. So there's a little bit of friction there, so it will eventually slow down when we hit the opposite button. Okay, and it's going to take it a little bit of a long time to do that. So let's go ahead and correct that code. in here we're going to add the negative symbol, okay? Negative symbol. All right, that goes for everybody. I believe everybody should be having the same issue. So we're going to go ahead and do that for everybody. And let's see if that fixed. So hit play now. When I hit my left button, I should be able to turn left. And when I hit my right button, I should be able to turn right. Okay. Did I save that? No, I didn't save it. That's why. Okay. I was wondering what happened there. All right. So if you don't like the turn thrust radius, let's go ahead and you can mess with the player one. Linear drag, don't worry about linear drag, but angular drag is the friction and how fast you can rotate again back to 1. So I'm going to go ahead and put a number 1 here. I'm going to turn my turn input up a little bit to 3. My thrust, I'm going to go ahead and change that to 5. Okay. So let's see what happens with those numbers. And again, you take the time to go ahead and play with those numbers for right now. So thrust, not too bad. Turns a little slow. Okay, no problem. No big deal. So that's not too bad. So we're going to work on turn first. Okay, that's not too bad. Let me reduce the angular drag to 0.01 again. Oh, I'm sorry, 0.05. Let's see what happens. Right turn, left turn. Okay. Okay, it's not liking that. Okay, let's try it again right here. And again, you can play with these numbers. Okay, so one thing I was making a mistake on, gentlemen, was I was using the turn input. I guess that's why we should make them private. So we're going to go ahead and do that here in a second, but the turn thrust is what we were needing to mess with. So I'm going to go ahead and start off with a 2 and take a look at that. Okay. So I was wondering why nothing was happening when I had turned it to 10, so I was on the wrong box. I'm going to go ahead and make those private so we don't mess with those. So when you go back to the script, you're going to go in front of these, and where it says void, you're going to go ahead and make it private. Left turn, right turn, not too bad, not too bad. Let's go ahead and increase that a little bit. Let me go ahead and do a 5. Left turn. Oh, a little bit faster, that's fine, okay. And we'll play with these numbers here in a little bit. Let me go ahead and go back in here and change turn thrust and thrust input and turn input into private floats instead of public floats. I'm going to go ahead and change that to private. Okay. And I'm going to make this also private. All right. So thrust and turn thrust. Thrust input, turn input. We're going to make these two private, just like I did right there. Okay. Save. And now I shouldn't see them on the inspector, and I won't be able to make that mistake again. Okay. And there it is. Okay, so now we can just mess with the thrust and the turn thrust. All right. So I want you guys to go ahead and take about 5 minutes to go ahead and play around with this and get it comfortable. I'm going to go ahead and increase my turn thrust to about a 10, and my regular thrust, I'm going to go ahead and change that to an 8. And let me see how it reacts to that. So I'm going to turn left, not too bad. I'm going to turn right, not too bad. And thrust, okay, it's a little bit controllable, not too bad. I can imagine that I'm pew, 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 okay. All right, not too bad. It's a little bit controllable. I don't like that turning radius, so I'm going to go ahead and change that to a maybe 1.5. This is me. Not sure how yours is going to work, but this is me. And I'm going to change that to about a 15. Okay, let me see how that looks. Turn left, turn right. Okay, thrust. All right, we'll work with that for right now. We'll work with this for right now, okay? You guys, I'm sure, probably figured out something, and you guys change that also, okay? Let me see what happens when I hit auto mass. It's turning slower. Yeah, I don't like that. So I'm going to go ahead and take auto mass off. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is I'm going to show you a new way to do some screen wrapping, okay? So there's our main player. Let me use the move tool instead. Here's our screen. So as before, we move up, we move off the screen, then we want it to pop out from the bottom, right? So that's our screen wrapping. So what I want to do is do the same thing, but I'm just going to go halfway, okay? Halfway out, and I should pop up. So I'm going to look at that number, 10.6, okay? So you know what? Like I said, we're going to do a new way. You don't need to worry about that right now. So let's go ahead and open up the script. We're going to add some more into the public class area. And I'm going to go ahead and add screen top, screen bottom, screen right, and screen left. Okay, so they're going to be public floats. Okay, and I'm going to call it screen bottom. And make another one called screen top. Another float, call this one screen right. And this next one will be screen left. Okay. Again, this is a new way to do, well, a different way to do some screen wrapping. Okay, close that out. Now we're going to come over here to the constant area, which is underneath our input. Give myself some comments here and some room. A different way to screen wrap. Okay. Oh, misspelled that. Screen wrap. Okay. Hit enter, and we're going to start off with a vector 2. New position, POS. And that's going to equal to a transform dot position. Transform dot position. Okay, close that out. So this next part is going to look familiar to you. We start off with an if statement, and we're going to say if our transform position if our transform position dot y, because we're working in the y-axis, is greater than our screen top, okay, what are we going to do? Let's go ahead and create our brackets, give ourselves some room. So what I'm telling it is if my top position, screen top, is greater than a certain number, then I'm going to want it to pop down into the bottom. So the new position, new POS dot y will equal screen bottom. Okay, so now I'm telling it I need you to go to the bottom. Okay, so there it is right there. All right, let's see if I missed anything. Okay, all right, so this is going to the top. It's going to want to pop out in the bottom. So now I need to create one where he goes to the bottom and pops up from the top. So why are we going to reinvent the wheel? So we're going to go ahead and copy. Okay. Copy, and we're going to go here, and we're going to go ahead and paste. Okay. Now, a few things we need to change. Instead of going screen top, we're going to go screen bottom. Okay. Get rid of the top. And from the bottom, we're going to go to the top. So we need to change this to top. So now I'm telling the system that, hey, if I got to change one more thing. This one right here to that one. So now I'm telling it, hey, if I am at the bottom, I need you to pop me up to the top. All right? And if I'm at the top, I want you to pop me into the bottom. So that's that. Let's go ahead and hit save. We got a few more things to do. And this should be it for the first video. Okay, folks, let's go back into our code. I went ahead and wrote the screen bottom and screen top along with the screen right and screen left. These are floats. You can pause right here. So this is a new way to do some screen wrapping. Okay, so I'm about to show you. So make sure you add these to your script. Okay. The next thing we're going to do is give yourself a comment underneath your turn and thrust inputs, a different way to screen wrap. I have my vector 2 new position transform dot position. If our transform position dot y is greater than screen top, then I need you to move to this new bottom, screen bottom. Okay. The next if statement is if my position is less than the screen bottom, then I want you to move me to the top. Okay. One last piece that I almost forgot to write. You go in here and you need to go ahead and tell it if any of these conditions are met, then you're going to go ahead and go to the new position. So transform dot position will equal new position, new POS. Okay, so there it is right there. Close it out. Save. Then we're going to go inside Unity. Inside Unity, we are going to go ahead and give it some numbers. We're going to go ahead and grab our top number. Okay, where's my player one? There we go. Zoom out a little bit. So we're going to grab our player one. We're going to go to the top. I like to go about maybe 75%. That's a good number. So I'm going to say 10. Okay. 10 is my top position and my bottom position is negative of that. So I'm going to go 10 and 10. Negative 10 for screen bottom. Make sure you put it in the right spot. screen top, positive 10. My right, okay, so I'm going to rotate my position 90 degrees. Oh, rotation 90 degrees. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And I'm going to kind of do the same thing here. Okay. So that left is about a 17.9. So I'm going to go with 17.8. Okay. And opposite to the right side is positive. Going left is negative. So make sure you put those numbers. Make sure you go in the right area. Okay. All right, let's see what we got. Let me go ahead and reset this to 0. Let's go ahead and put this guy back at 0 and 0. Okay, so it should be at the center of the camera. Let's go back to our game. Let's make sure these numbers are good to go. And we're going to hit play. And we're going to go ahead and move straight up. And I should pop out at the bottom of the screen if I did everything correctly. Fingers crossed. There it is. Yay. All right. So let's go ahead and add some more speed. Keep going, keep going, keep going. All right. All right. So that's good. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to test out my left and right. So I'm going to turn. And I'm going to go straight ahead. So now I should pop out in the right edge of the screen. What happened? All right, so let's take a look and see what we did wrong. What I did wrong. Okay. Let me double check. My right is 17. This is right. And my left is negative. Okay. This is left. All right. Let me take a look and see what I did incorrectly. All right. All right, folks. Oh, Lordy. I made a boo-boo. So, this is our... I totally forgot that I hadn't even put our left and right. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that now. Right above this transform translate, let's go ahead and give it a little bit of room. Okay. What we're going to do is we're going to copy paste all of this right here. Copy. Control C. And we're going to go in here right underneath this bracket. We're going to go... Why did I do that? Right there. And we're going to hit Control V. Now, we're going to change a few things. Obviously, we're not in the Y, so we're going to be using X. Okay? We're not in the screen top. We are in the screen right. So let's do that first. Right. Okay. Delete the top. Okay. And we're not going screen bottom, right? We are going screen left. Let's delete the other stuff. And also remember we are in the X plane. So let's change that. Now, we're going here. We already did screen right first, so we're going to do screen left. And again, we're changing the Y to an X because we're in the X plane. Let's go ahead and knock that out here. And instead of going left, we are going right. All right, so take a minute, pause your video. Make sure you have 1, 2, 3, 4 ifs. The first 2 ifs is screen top to bottom, bottom to top, right to left, left to right. Okay? Pause your video. Fill in that stuff. Make sure you are in the correct brackets. Transform dot position equals new position should be between these 2 brackets before you hit the void fixed update. Okay? Hit save. And let's test out our left. I was such a noob making that baby mistake. So now I'm going to turn my ship and I should pop up on the right side of my screen. There I am. There I am. There I am. All right. Looking good. Looks good to me. All right. So we're going to go ahead and call it quits here. And before we call it quits, just a friendly reminder again, if you go half screen, it may affect your left and right limit. So when you are working on this, make sure you are full screen, you are full HD. Please make sure your camera is set at 10. Okay. If you went higher, that's fine. Just make sure it's set whatever you want it to be. I went 10, folks. Okay. So keep that in mind. All right. If you have any issues, we're going to go into detail on how we're going to be handling these issues because it is your responsibility to maintain uh, good listening skills in watching this video. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and say sayonara and hasta luego. This is it for player movement. Thank you very much.